Hello everyone and welcome to today's MASTS webinar. We will be hearing from Ángel from the European Marine Board with an introduction from Dr. Mark James. And Ángel today is going to be talking about the benefits of MASTS membership to the European Marine Board. Just to know, if you have any questions, you can submit them to the Q&A box and we'll go through them at the end of the presentation. And also to note that this webinar is being recorded and you can catch up on our YouTube channel on all our previous webinars as well. Okay, and now I'll pass along to Mark.
Hello everyone, my name is Mark James. I'm the Operations Director for MASTS. I'm based here at the University of St Andrews. Just as a sort of a preamble to Angel's introduction to the Marine Board, I thought it was worth just letting you know how MASTS interacts with the Marine Board currently. We've been members since 2016. I've had the opportunity to serve as an executive board member for the Marine Board. Generally, only 3 organisations within any member state are permitted to become members of the Marine Board. And within the UK, that means that there's MASTS, there's the National Environment Research Council, and the National Oceanography Centre in Southampton. And we effectively are representing the marine science community at that level. The Marine Board has become particularly important to us as an avenue to perhaps influence or continue to influence thinking at Commission level within Europe. Because the Marine Board is founded under the Council of Europe rather than necessarily the European Union, it means that the UK can still be members. And we have opportunities through the Marine Board to highlight particularly challenges in the marine environment, issues that we would like to raise, perhaps, or continue to raise at European level through the auspices of the European Marine Board, and also to use some of the tools and interventions that the Marine Board produces, which Ángel will talk to you about, as a way of highlighting some of these issues and perhaps even influencing the way that future Horizon funding might be allocated, particularly in terms of the subject areas of interest that might be raised and become accessible to us in the UK, even though we're no longer members of the European Union. I'll now hand you over to Ángel to give you the details, but I'd urge you at every stage to perhaps talk to your colleagues about the Marine Board, look at opportunities that MASTS circulates in relation to the Marine Board, and participate where you can, because it's an important point of intervention for the UK and particularly for Scotland under the MASTS banner, but you as individuals can interact and use your expertise, hopefully to influence and to shape the way that policy is developed. I'll now hand you over to Ángel.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me, and also, for everybody joining now, and also eventually who will be listening to the recording afterwards. I'm Ángel Muñiz Piniella. I'm a science officer at the European Marine Board Secretariat, and I'm here, as Mark James already told you, to present the benefits of being that MASTS is member of the European Marine Board. And it's also what we as Secretariat or Marine Board can do for you as well. So it's also has been introduced by Mark. The European Marine Board is a membership organization, and if you recognize some logos, maybe you recognize some organizations. And as he said that the NOC, the UKRI, and MAST are for now the UK members, and of course the MAST representatives are also here is Mark James and David Patterson, who are the official delegates for MAST. So if you have any questions or any specific queries, you can always contact us or contact them. Probably you haven't had time to count them all, but currently 37 members from 18 countries. So we can say that we represent over 10,000 scientists and technical staff. This is a unique partnership of marine and oceanographic institutes, research funding agencies, and national networks of universities with a strong marine component. Currently, the European Marine Board is chaired by Gilles Lericollet, who is the representative or the delegate from Ifremer. And we have a secretariat of 6. Now also we have the support from an intern, Fernanda, and we are based in Belgium, in Ostend. So if you ever happen to be in Ostend, you are more than welcome to pass by. And Probably you will recognize some names or some faces as Sheila, Paula, and Anna developed part of the careers as well in Scotland. What do? We are the link or the bridge between science and policy. Not only at a European level, as you can see on the European flag, but also at national level, and also we provide recommendations to policy and international level. So we provide recommendations on what will be the next big thing for marine sciences, or the thing that we need to address challenges, or increase awareness to policy. And of course, if there are policy developments or things that are coming in the future in the policy landscape, we inform back to the marine science community. And how we do this? We have our strategic publications, because the European Marine Board has a standing reputation for providing a high quality science policy advice. You can download it in this QR code on this page, and also sometimes you will recognize the look and feel of our covers. I put here the latest documents since 2 years ago, and we cover many topics going from noise, geohazards, but also ocean oxygen and offshore renewable energy. So it's always with sometimes with policy relevance, but we try to also link it to societal challenges or policy developments. These documents are really accessible for a non-specialist, because of course the policymakers and the advisors to ministries and so on, they are really smart, they are really capable, but of course they not be an expert on that field. So they are really approachable, these documents. So it could be useful for you if you're interested, or you land in a project that maybe deals with underwater noise, or the or with renewable energy. In these documents, we explain really well the challenges or the issues of that topic. How can you, what are the challenges, and also how you can address them with some recommendations. How we select these topics, we have an infographic that you can see here explaining a little bit, but I will run it through. So all the delegates meet twice a year in the plenary meetings of the European Marine Board, and they brainstorm on topics, and also they can suggest some topics to our running list that we have, and it could be on future challenges, or or important research areas that they haven't been on much on the attentions of funding, or any other topic. And after this brainstorming, we will have a topic selection that is through a vote, and then the next topic for the European Marine Board will be approved by the entire board. Here already you can suggest topics or help deciding these topics, because we're looking for topics that will increase the relevance and awareness of trending and emerging marine science issues, novelties and new discoveries, and really important because our main target audience is the funding of marine science and technology. So it's up to you as well to help decide with us and the experts around Europe on what Europe and your national governments needs to fund for marine science. Once we have a topic, we at the Secretariat develop terms of reference to put in that topic into a policy and an international relevance, and also explaining how the working group and what kind of expertise we're looking for. And we make a call for nominations to all our members. When we have a pool of experts, the Secretariat together with ExCom will select a chair with some interviews, and this chair will select the co-chair and also the rest of the working group, which normally is up to 12 members. Again, here you can submit yourself or also be involved in the decision-making process of in this case, MASTS, because the EMB members submit nominations from within their own networks or also beyond. So you don't have to be part of MASTS to be suggested as an expert for our working group. The experts are selected based on criteria, including, of course, scientific expertise and relevance to the topic, but also communication and project management skills, because sometimes you can be a chair or the leader of a chapter. Also the engagement level, because of course, if you are really busy, probably you won't be able to help us writing these documents. And also diversity criteria could be gender, also geographical balances. I would like to reiterate that, of course, these documents are for a non-technical audience. So if you have capacities to explain your research or what are the challenges of your research area to our non-experts, that will be excellent. And of course, that diverse and holistic expertise are also really well appreciated, because of course, and I will just put an example on the deep sea working group. Of course, we are not only looking for deep sea biologists, but also we're looking for geologists, chemists, expert in law, in oceanography, and so on. So once we have a working group, they will meet and they will start developing the documents, and we will, as a secretariat, steer them and also, help them to set up the meetings, online meetings, and so on. And then also we help designing the document, making nice pictures, designing infographics, and also make it understandable or readable to a non-expert audience. And then we will send it to review. Of course, it's external review and also what we call the internal review, because we will send the draft to all our delegates. So it's up to them as well to organize how they would like to review it, because the idea of these documents is that a document from the European Marine Board, it will have some authors, but of course they represent the European Marine Board community. So of course, the more comments that we have, the stronger these documents will be. So this is again another area that's maybe you can contribute to the European Marine Board documents. These documents eventually then will be launched, and we will disseminate at international, European, and also national level. And we track impact up to 2 years. Of course, after 2 years, we know that some of our documents have further down impact, but at least to give some closure, we look back at into 2 years. And it's also just to say that in recent documents, or at least that has been more than 2 years published, some highlights on the impact of our activities. So for instance, we participated in a project called SOFI, dedicated to oceans and human health, and the European Marine Board was leading the development of the strategic research agenda for oceans and human health. And for instance, that really informed a funding call in Denmark, but also many other strategic research agendas at national level, but also at European level. And we know that that also helped some training courses of bringing these two areas together, the human health and the ocean health research areas. In a document that we did on big data on marine science, to really highlighting how the things that we have to do to really benefit from big data in marine sciences. This document has been referenced in several scientific literature, and also helped inform the Horizon Europe calls, especially dedicated to the digital twin of the ocean, something that's also now a really a hot topic. And also, I would like to highlight that even though that's we have these documents, sometimes the impact is before the document is launched, because we have a working group, a current working group, that will publish their document at the end of the year on marine habitat mapping. But at the end of June, under the discussions at the European Parliament on the nature restoration law, that maybe if you haven't followed the European policies, is the new law that has been approved at the beginning of July. There were a lot of discussions of if this law will be approved or not. So we were invited to a European Parliament event discussing that specifically on the marine issues. And the working group chair was invited as an expert to provide her views on, looking at the proposal of the restoration law, and what are the scientific and knowledge gaps that we have. So then on the picture below, you can see the different MEPs listening carefully to what she has to say. We are also in events, and also we organize events because, of course, suggesting this kind of topics on ocean oxygen, noise, and so on, give us, this collective vision, so we can really represent the European marine science community into the different arenas. But also we would like to bring different stakeholders around certain topics. And these are also the kind of events that we organize. So we have the third Thursday webinars, who happens, not surprisingly, every third Thursday of every month. And for instance, the last one was led by MASTS on collaborations with marine social sciences. So it's also available on YouTube, and you can look it back if you haven't seen it. And these webinars are always linked to documents that we published in the past, because of course these documents are really broad, and they get together a lot of things, but of course sometimes it's nice to highlight some specific research or related to that topic. We also organize brown bag lunches. That's also something that we do normally in Brussels, with the main target audience is the science officers at the European Commission. And I know that Mark James did one a couple of years ago in Brussels. And we invite one expert to provide a presentation, and also sometimes it's quite a topic that's goes for debates, and then we'll have an open discussion with the officers, because sometimes they're just curious about these topics and they just would like to get some questions solved. So that's a really interesting format. We also organize forums. That's normally every 2 years, and it goes on specific topics, like for instance the Arctic or big data. The European Marine Board Communication Panel, a dedicated panel on communication officers, organizes the CoMotion conferences also every 2 years. The next one will be in December next year, and is dedicated to marine science communication. Also, the Eurasian conferences is organized every 5 years, and these are science policy conferences looking at what will be the next big things in the next 4 to 5 years. So it's also this kind of like foresight or forward-looking conferences. And also we organize the plenary meetings, as I said, every 6 months. And if also it must in the future, will host the next meeting, we will always have an open session where we will deal with a broad topic. And also if you are online, maybe you can also participate. We also support the Ocean Decade. We were one of the first Ocean Decade implementing partner, and we'll support via our foresight documents, the coordination more or less at the European level that we try to do, and also communicate. So you can always subscribe to our Ocean Decade newsletter. And also we support events and webinar and communicate it like this. And maybe you heard about the Embracing the Ocean program. That's our artist in residency program, where we fund 2 artists for 1 year with 10,000 euros to co-develop a piece of art together with scientists. That's also something that you can be involved, because we know that's in the previous calls that many of the scientists are also really motivating to that art is developed together with science. So next year we will have in the next call, but I can already inform some of the things that the previous artists did in last year. So for instance, we have a French choreographer who developed a choreography in her dance school dedicated to mangroves. It also was really nice. You can also see the full video that was presented at the UNESCO headquarters in December 2022. Also, we have an Ukrainian artist that was also an additional support that we did last year due to the war that happened in Ukraine, and she did an installation also with some sculptures on reflecting on the impacts of the war on the marine environment, especially in the Black Sea. And also you have we had a Scottish composer who used some sort of a program to feed in data from polar areas to develop some sort of a symphony, and that was also presented at the Fringe Festival last year. So really interesting stuff. Also this year we will have artist duo from Denmark, the ones on the left, that actually really interesting because they using sediment cores. They use that sediment to blow a glass to it and to make sculptures. And it's also really interesting because they found out that, of course, these sediments, they are not clean. So they have impurities, but also it can have, presence of bacteria and so on. So they found out that also they have different colors, different bubbles and so on. So they are working together with a scientist so also to investigate if you can have more knowledge from these glass sculptures from these sediments. And also we have Sonia Levy, which is a London-based artist who is developing some sort of the views from the Venice lagoons from the below. So she's recording some images from the from below the water of the Venice lagoon, and she will present together with the scientists of that area to have some sort of a stakeholder engagement and to bring the perspective of the lagoon itself. So because normally all the management, all the decisions are done below water, but that this is area to go underwater. We also support the mission. I know that this is an EU initiative, but I think they are still open to receive UK-based inputs because also we highlight it in our documents, and also the artists are endorsed as a mission activity, and also we share activities, and for instance, we communicate about the mission in events like this. And one of the interesting things that you can engage with, especially if you are a PhD or a postdoc, is the Young Ambassador program of the European Marine Boards, which are people who help us to promote marine science and the European Marine Board activities. We have ambassadors every 2 years, and then you become an alumni, so you can still benefit from being part of the European Marine Board sphere. And also you will receive a grant to help us communicate, and also, another budget to support EMB dissemination, or to help you participate in events if you communicate about the European Marine Boards and so on. So there are new calls every February, and also you can read their blog that is available on our website, which they bring also really interesting perspectives. They also organize the Early Career Ocean Professional Network, the ECOP network, and it's actually quite a great opportunity to meet and greet other ECOPs based on EMB organizations that are at a European level, and also you can some sort of have a voice at the European Marine Board level. Also, they organize these ECOP Wednesdays on the first Wednesday of every month, where they discuss some different issues of science policy landscape. So it's also really interesting, and even if you are not ECOP, it could be really interesting if you are interested in the policy developments. So just summarizing, how you can benefit from a MASTS membership to the European Marine Boards. If you are interested in a topic, you can read our documents, are available on our website and also in print. And also you can always contact us, and we will send you for free some of our documents that we have still available. You can suggest a topic or help decide the next one via the delegates of MASTS. You can also propose yourself as an expert or a working group, also via the MASTS delegates, and also you review the draft documents that we know for sure that they will come. Normally we publish 2 documents a year, but for instance this year we will publish 5. It's going to be quite a busy year. You can participate in our events and also suggest topics for discussion, or also eventual speakers that they are really good. You can collaborate with artists. Doesn't have to be with Embracing the Ocean laureates, but also you can be involved with some artists, and also under the Ocean Decade Forum, the dedicated website of the Ocean Decade, we are setting up a community page with the artists that apply for the Embracing the Ocean artist in residency program. So also you can interact with them using that tool. You can engage with the ECOP network and also apply for to be the next cohort of the Young Ambassadors. And also, if you have any questions, you can always contact the EMB Secretariat or the MASTS delegates that maybe they will also provide really advice on specific advice for MASTS and how they can be involved in the European Marine Board. And also subscribe to our newsletter where we announce our new documents, our new activities and so on, and also on social media. So hopefully I was not too fast, but as I said, yeah, you can always contact us and I will be happy to reply any questions that you may have. And yeah, any maybe things that was not clear for you. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ángel. That was really interesting and lots of different ways that people can get involved. We're going to move on to questions, if that's okay. We have had a couple of questions come in. So first question is, do you expect the 3 national members to act as conduits to the wider scientific communities, or do you also try to do that?
That's a really good question, actually, because yeah, we expect from our members that they will represent the marine science community in their country. So that's why also in the past we only allowed 3 members per country to be part of the European Marine Board, because that's why, you know, they should be the main actors of the marine science community. But recently we expanded to 5 because, for instance, in some countries they have more research institutions or networks that they have. So yeah, that will be excellent if you know, our delegates can also disseminate our activities and our documents and our recommendations to the marine science community, because of course the Secretariat, as I said, we are only 6 and based in Belgium, so we cannot be everywhere. But yeah, if you are happy to be, if some of us happen to be in, for instance, at the NOC or in MAST and so on, we are happy as well to communicate about the European Marine Board or what we do on a specific topic. But of course, we hope that the delegates will communicate about these initiatives with their community as well. You know, they can also suggest to subscribe to our newsletter, to follow us on social media so they can get the information firsthand. But yeah, that's we hope to do that.
Great. So we have another question. Can you explain the Navigating the Future series?
Yeah, so true, that's something that I haven't mentioned. So this is a flagship document. So every 5 years, more or less, we developed a document that is also looking at the future of the next 5 or to 7 years on the things that we need to fund in the future. So these are broader topics, and we also set up a working group to help write these documents, and also we have a process of foresighting and, you know, what will be the next big thing and so on. So for instance, in Navigating the Future 4, it was a really big document, but really comprehensive. It had a lot of interesting and relevant areas like ocean observations, climate research, and so on. And that was also really influential document for Horizon 2020, the previous Horizon framework program. The previous one on the Navigating the Future 5, that was also more like putting the ocean in a context broader, like as a whole, and not to try to compartmentalize in different sectors. And for instance, we can hang ourselves that kind of medal that, of course, it was not something that we invented, but we suggested that the development of the digital twins will be something that it will be really useful for society in the future, and also it will advance as well the better assessment and stewardship of data and so on. So now we are really happy that you know, there are funding calls, there are, you know, development of international programs on digital twins of the ocean. So that's something that's yeah, even though that we just put it in paper, we are happy to say that. And we are preparing now the Navigating the Future 6. Hopefully we will launch it next year, and we hopefully at the Ocean Decade conference in Barcelona next year, but hopefully. at the ocean in a broader perspective, in the planetary perspective. So it will have different chapters, one on biodiversity, on climate, on the freshwater environment, and also the people. So I guess that will be also the biggest one, because of course that's the biggest interaction that we have with the ocean. So it will have different chapters putting the ocean in its place in planet Earth. So yeah, that's in a nutshell the Navigating the Future series.
Something to look forward to then. Thank you. So another question, what are the current working groups and what timescales do they work to?
Yeah, so we have an ad hoc working group on blue carbon who will develop a policy brief, so something really short, around 12 pages. They will present the policy brief at the Eurasian conference in October this year in Vigo. Also, we are preparing a document on, or a bigger document on coastal resilience. This is also not only natural sciences, but also social sciences. So that's why it's taken a lot of time, because as also we learned at the previous webinar with the MASTS experts, it's quite it takes some time to bring together marine social scientists and natural scientists. And this document will be also launched at the Eurasian conference in October. Then we have a document on marine habitat mapping that it will be probably launched in November, December this year. And also we have the Navigating the Future 6, hopefully in April. And then we have a new document or a working group that is not new anymore. It has been launched in February, but it's on the deep sea and ocean health, where we also have an expert from MASTS, at least from SAMS. And this document hopefully will be launched in spring. In October, we will have a new plenary meeting where a new topic will be selected. So then again, we will have a new working group document. So and a document in the future. So we normally will have 2 documents per year. So these are the next ones. And hopefully I haven't forgetting anyone, but of course we also engage in European projects and with deliverables and so on. But as a strategic documents, and these are the upcoming ones.
Thank you. Okay, we have another question. Am I correct that now the UK could have another 2 members and the cost would remain the same?
So the cost per member will for now remain the same. So then if another organization from the UK would like to join, they can send an application to the secretariat. Of course, we tend to accept, because of course we have a criteria of selection that of course has to be representative of the, in this case, the UK marine science community and so on. So it could be a network of marine universities, I don't know. So yeah, for now, we changed our article of associations, and we are allowing a maximum of 5 members per country. That doesn't mean that we have to fill in all the members per country. Of course, it will be nice, but yeah, there is no pressure to fill in if you feel that the 3 current members are really well representing the marine science community in the UK.
Thank you. I think we have our last question now. How does the EMB fit with other EU and international level organizations such as JPI Oceans, EOOS, POGO, etc.?
Yeah. So I will start at an international level. So, for instance, with the IOC UNESCO, we have through the Ocean Decade, but also through other initiatives, we have a good relationship with the secretariat in Paris. We normally send our recommendations, our documents to them, and hopefully that will influence their international programs. With the JPI Oceans is similar because, of course, the JPI Oceans gathers the funders of marine research around Europe. And especially, I will now put an example. They had a funding call on addressing underwater noise, and they actually waited to our document to be published and to see recommendations instead of doing the scoping or what should be financed on themselves. They sometimes just wait, or we inform them or what are the recommendations, or what's the science that needs to be funded. And also we relate with them because of course they are based in Brussels, so we go to their events, they go to our events, and we have a regular exchange on the activities that we do, especially related to the Ocean Decade. With POGO, and maybe I will start with the EOS, so the European Ocean Observing System and framework. Currently, Sheila Hemmens, the executive director, is the chair of the advisory committee of the framework, and also the co-chair of the steering group. So we are really active because maybe you don't know what EOS is, but it's a framework to put behind a vision and maybe the standard of to put it into more like a in a work perspective. So everybody, all the ideas that the research infrastructures, the ocean observing community, and so on, they are going or they are willing to have a European ocean observing system that is end-to-end, that it really links the observation that goes at the going on at the ocean, link it to data initiatives, and also to satellite initiatives, and of course providing services to society and policy. So we are part of that. The secretariat also have some dedicated person months to support the initiatives of the EOS, because there is no legal entity for EOS. It's just kind of like the brand and so on. So it's up to us to bring the EOS initiative forward. And related to that as well, we relate with POGO as an ocean observing initiative. And also I know that many of our delegates are also involved in POGO and so on. And I know that we sometimes meet with the secretariat in Plymouth as well. So that also we have some relationship. So that's also the role of the secretariat, to try to link and not to overlap with the other European organizations, because I know it's a complex landscape, but everybody has its own niche of activities.
Thank you. It's great to hear how interconnected everything is. I don't think we have any more questions, so I'd just like to say thank you so much for presenting today, and really telling us about the benefits of the EMB for MASTS.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks to you. Thanks to you for having me.